hammock just ripped down the middle. I remember looking up towards the sky when I was falling, and at that moment I made peace with the fact that that was the last thing that I was ever gonna see. I was on the island of Hawaii volunteering at an eco lodge. Me and one of the other volunteers had decided to go hiking down to the sea cliffs, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. I set my hammock up next to a cliff edge because I wanted an uninterrupted view of the ocean. I was on FaceTime with my friend and we were just catching up, and I was just thinking, wow, this is so wonderful. I'm in paradise. All of a sudden, the hammock ripped and there was nothing for me to grab onto, and so I rolled right off the edge. I was falling and my hands were floating above me, just trying to grab onto anything. Once I hit the ground, I passed out and the tide pulled me out into the ocean. Thankfully, I came to right at the moment that I really needed to, because if I had remained unconscious for any longer, I would have drowned. I pulled myself out of the water, and the first thing that I noticed is that my left arm bone is sticking out of my skin. My right knee was completely lacerated, and there was just chunks of muscle tissue everywhere. I also broke 8 vertebrae of my spine. In high school, I was a lifeguard, and so I was able to assess the situation and figure out what I needed to do. I used one of my bikini strings to tourniquet my arm, and I was able to control the bleeding. I was doing everything I could to just try to keep myself calm. I started singing some of my favorite artists and just quietly rapping to myself because one of my lungs was partially collapsed, and so I wasn't able to talk or scream for help. The other girl was able to see that I was still alive and call 911. I was thinking a lot about the people that I love, especially my dad. He served in the Royal Air Force and he has had several very serious accidents, and I was just trying to channel his inner strength. A helicopter came and took me to the medical center. They took me right into surgery on my arm and knee. They placed a rod and 6 screws into my arm, and they sewed up my knee, and they put me in the ICU, and I was unconscious for 2 days. They wanted my body to heal and gain strength so they could perform spinal fusion on my back. I was in the hospital a little under 3 weeks. Getting home really helped lift my spirits because I was surrounded by family and friends again. I'm still recovering now. I'm mainly just working on getting my back stronger again. It'll take up to a full year for my bones to fully harden, and there will be some limitations that I have to deal with. I was a gymnast growing up. I always loved to bust out a back handspring as a party trick or do backflips. I'm no longer allowed to do that. I love to swim, and so the fact that right now swimming is painful for me is hard to accept, but I know it's not going to be that way forever. I thought that hanging my hammock there was worth it, but I didn't stop to consider that I could fall. Think twice before you do something impulsive. Is it really worth it? I am sane. Are you?